This is a small spring where usually there's this, you can tell where the mud's at, usually a pond of water this time of the year with little tadpoles or frogs. But this shows how dry we've been. No water. Some deer tracks in the mud. And that's about it. This time of the year when you walk in the woods in southern Appalachia, most of the time if you're in a place where there's a lot of laurels, you're walking on a carpet of blooms. Almost looks like snow, right? It's laurel blooms. Matt has spotted what we call a terrapin. Boy, he's hurrying. He don't like it because we're bothering him. A lot of people, I think the technical name probably is eastern box turtle, but we grew up calling them terrapins. Every summer, my niece April, when she was little, she used to catch her a terrapin in the yard, and she'd pin it up and she'd keep it for a pet for a few days. She would feed it bugs and grass, maybe some fruit from inside the house, fruit scraps, vegetable scraps, and then before she let it loose, she would paint a stripe on its shell with fingernail polish. And one year, me and Matt and Corey and Katie was way up the creek, probably, almost to the point you can look over into Moccasin Creek on the other side of the mountain, and we saw a terrapin with pink on its back, so we knew it had been one of April's pets. deciding which way to go. So normally we would take the left turn here and go on up the creek, but today we're going to take the right. Matt says he's not been up there in a long time. He wants to go check it out. Doesn't go far. Every time I come to this little crossroads, behind me, behind the camera, is Wilson Holler. So I love to think about the people who maybe traveled this road, whether they were walking, of course in the days of a sled or a wagon, but even when there was cars that might have traveled this. Even though it's been so many years since, like I was saying, this road would have been traveled by horses or mules or oxen or the occasional car, you can still, if you look closely, of course this road's easy to see, but even you can see, I don't know if it shows up on camera, but right here, going right up the ridge there, you can see a trail heading off that way. Now, whether that was a trail that someone used, maybe there was a house up in there, maybe it's an old skid trail where they were logging, I don't know. But if you look closely, you can still see those places, still see the sign of those that come before us. You can see where heavy rain runoff has pushed all the leaves back as it went down the road here. Looks pretty fresh, but it's not rained like that at our house, which is not very far, of course, in a long time. As I continue to see where the rain's washed, makes me wonder if over on this ridge where we're headed, which is across the way from our house, if there was what the old timers called a cloud burst. That's when a massive amount of rain, usually more than this, there'd be more damage than this, happens in one localized area. Of course, a heavy rain like this also is called, a gully washer, a stump floater, all those different things. But it has definitely poured the rain in this area like it has not at our house.
Walked under a bunch of turkeys that's roasted. Didn't know where they were. Realized I'd walked under them. I figured they'd fouled it up, and I come back to here and sat under that tree right there and called to them. And when they flew off, the wind got there close. The gobbler was gobbling hard, and he started down the ridge, and I run up through there and called at him and got him to come back to me, and I shot him. By accident, just ran into him, but I killed one that morning.
Notice these weird places on this tree, little bumps, knots. When you look closer, you can see what's causing them. There was an old barbed wire fence here, and over the years, this huge tree has grown up around it, causing those things. And then you can see where there's one where the barbed wire is actually going through the tree now. The fence is long gone, just these little few strands of barbed wire left.
It was convenient. There's a nice tree here for wood. That's why I picked it.
You're smart like that. So nice.
Yes. Peaceful.
Relaxing.
I'd rather do this than be at the beach. And you, myself.
Yeah, nothing beats it. When it comes to holidays like 4th of July, Matt has it easy because to please me, what I like to do is to go up in the woods, have some simple meal, look around, hike around, just notice things, just enjoy being in the great outdoors. So that's really easy compared to most people, what they want, which works out good because that's what Matt wants too. Over the years that we've been married, we've hardly ever went to a 4th of July fireworks thing. We did last year because we went to Sam and Wanda's, remember, up at the lake, Matt's aunt and uncle up at the lake. But that was the first time in what, 15 years?
Yeah, at least.
Yeah, we just usually stay home and do whatever we do. Enjoy being, Matt's always off on 4th of July, so we enjoy that. When I was working, I was usually off on 4th of July. But this is my favorite way to celebrate any kind of holiday, whether it's in the winter or the summer. It's really hot today. We hiked up to the top of the ridge. We're a place where we hadn't been in a long time, where Matt used to squirrel hunt a lot. It was unbelievable how much hotter it was up there than down here by the creek. You could just feel the temperature as we come back down getting less and less.
I bet it's 10 degrees different.
Yeah, easy. Yeah. And so, of course, we built a fire so that we could have a s'more. That was the thing I told Matt. For 4th of July, I want to hike up in the woods, eat some simple meal. We can take a sandwich or whatever and have a s'more. So we built it for that. But also, in Appalachia, we call those gnat smokes. So in the summer, you are eat up by mosquitoes and gnats, things in your face all the time. So if you have a little smoky fire, that helps with that. And it is a smoky fire. The smoke's been following me. That's another old saying. You've probably heard it. Smoke follows beauty. So I guess it's following me today. It's following you right now.
It's been following you because you're pretty.
Oh. When we were outside when I was young, we would have weenie roast, is what Pap and Granny called them, where we just roast a hot dog. Maybe we'd have a watermelon that had been in the creek all day. But even if we were just outside eating watermelon or something, Pap would build a little fire like that, a gnat smoke, just to keep the bugs at bay. Some people will just use a little, of course we're using what's in the woods today, dead limbs and leaves and stuff, but some people would use just an old rag, just kind of set it on fire and let it smolder there. Of course, if you build fires, especially right now in the outdoors, you got to be careful because it is so dry in the southern Appalachian region. So dry. Which is funny though, we just seen the big trail through the leaves. So it definitely has rained up there, but it's not rained like that at our house in I don't know when.
For a long time, couple months probably.
So, good thing though, by being by the creek like this, it's easy to get water to make sure that your fire's put out. So we were going to have a sandwich for our dinner. So this morning when we were getting ready to leave, I said, I'll just pack us a simple sandwich. That can be our dinner, and then we'll have the s'mores as a dessert. Well, Matt said he wanted a bologna sandwich, so that's what I brought him, some bologna. And I'm like one of those picky people that I don't want my sandwich made and then eat it hours later. I want to make it fresh. I think it gets soggy. So I had the bread, and I got his bologna, and I got mayonnaise and mustard for him, and then I was going to get peanut butter and jelly for me, and I didn't bring my peanut butter and jelly. I didn't. So Matt offered to share his bologna with me, but I had some cherries and some wonderful tomatoes out of our garden, so I just ate those. That was plenty. I was really looking forward to that jelly, though. I've been picking blackberries like crazy. Matt's been helping me, too, and the girls. They picked some for me the other day, so we've been making a lot of blackberry jelly to put up for the winter. And so I was really looking forward to that peanut. That's my favorite peanut butter and jelly, is blackberry and peanut butter, of course. And if the blackberry is fresh, it's all the more better. Yeah. But I forgot it. You might have noticed these little bags that I was using, I carry our stuff in. These are the handiest little bags. The girls got them for me for Christmas like 2 years ago. They've held up wonderful. I've put all kinds of stuff in them, store stuff in the refrigerator, bring them on hikes and things like that, and they wash out really well too. I don't remember, and then you just wash them out, you know, hang them over something, let them dry, and then just keep reusing them, and they've worked so well. I'm one of those people that reuse Ziploc bags too, but these are like a thicker quality, of course, plastic, but they have been so nice. If you're looking for something like that, I'm not sure where they got them, maybe Walmart, maybe Amazon, but I think they got them for me for Christmas, but they are very nice for that, really handy. So when we come up on hikes, whether it's in the heat of the summer, spring, or in the middle of the winter, we love to do that and build a fire, have hot chocolate, those kind of things. I always look for treasures along the way. The actual trip is a treasure because each season, it's wonderful to live in a part of the world that has distinct seasons. So in the winter, you're noticing the bareness of the forest and the trees, how stark they look against the sky. And then in the spring, you're watching all that new regrowth. Of course, in the fall, there's the wonderful colors. And then in the summer, there's the jungle. It's a jungle, which is just amazing. Green, everywhere you look, various colors of green. So all that's treasure enough. But then I also look for little treasures, and I found two. Matt found one of them. Now while I'm sitting here, I've dropped it. Do you see my heart that you found?
No.
What have I done with it? Well, I've lost one of the treasures while I was sitting here. I don't know how I could have lost it. It was in my lap. It was the smallest little heart leaf that Matt found, which was sweet. He said sweets for the sweetheart, I think's what you said. And then rarely you get to see sourwood blooms because they're so far up in the top of the tree. The best way to see them is from a distance, kind of looks white. But as we were hiking up on the ridge there, in the middle of the road, there was several little bundles. I don't know if a bird or something, or maybe the wind, where that rain had washed, maybe the wind had blown really hard up there too. So that's a rare thing that you get to see up close, is sourwood blooms. A lot of people here, I'm sure, most familiar with that tree because of the honey, sourwood honey. You'll often hear that's a lot of people's favorite honey to eat. I guess that's your favorite, isn't it? Yeah. And it's really popular in our area because there's a lot of sourwoods. So we hope that you had a wonderful 4th of July. We certainly have, just doing one of our favorite things, which is really simple and wonderful that we can just go out the back door to do it. We don't have to drive anywhere. And now Matt and I are we're gonna head back home, back down to Wilson Holler, where we have beans waiting on us. I think we're gonna have our first cannon of beans. So we'll be breaking up beans and doing our first cannon. And we hope, as always, you'll continue to drop back by often to help us celebrate Appalachia, which is a whole lot of the wonderful being outdoors in the woods, near the creeks and the trees, and just the wonderful things, sights and sounds and smells that you can see, and also things like canning green beans. So Matt got the fire put out, and we got all our stuff packed up, and we're ready to go. I forgot I was going to say one thing. So many people, when we do go on hikes, they ask, why does Matt carry? Why? What are we afraid of, or what is it? Well, Matt's the kind of person, we all are, that you just never know what you're going to run into. So that's one thing. But then people want to know, are there wild animals in our area? Are there poisonous snakes? Yes, copperheads and rattlesnakes abound in southern Appalachia. And then as far as animals, there are a lot of bear here. Now, typically black bear do not bother you. They skedaddle as soon as they hear you coming, and they're gone. But you never know what's going to happen. And in fact, on the way, when we first started out from the house, we run into a black bear. I couldn't get it on film because that's how fast it was gone. It was just gone. So, but a huge one, really big one. And most of the time, like I said, they skedaddle before you even know they're there. They hear you long before you see them or hear them. Anyway, but so that's one of the reasons. And so many people ask that, and I always mean to address it, and then I forget about it because it's so commonplace to us. As far as other animals, we have, of course, deer and coyote, and of course, rabbits and foxes and raccoons and all those kind of things. But bear would probably be the biggest animal that's here. And then, of course, there's all the tales and stories you hear about panthers, about painters, as we would say, mountain lions, cougars. And some believe they're here and some don't. I personally believe they're here. I don't know if they stay all the time, but there's been so many different sightings from people that I know personally. And myself, I seen one time. So I know that they have to at least be here some. Also, bobcats are here, but they're elusive too. All those most animals are gone. They hear you and they're gone. They're not going to be in your face. You just never know when there might be one, especially something as big as a bear that decides that today's your an unlucky day for you, and you need to be prepared.
Most all the time they won't bother you, but they all have different personalities, and you might run into the one that's got the bad personality. You know?
Yeah.
And it's not a bad idea to be able to protect yourself.
Right.
And that's why I carry one. I've had 3 or 4 instances in my life where I had to fight off a rabid animal.
Yeah.
Coons, skunks, and that sort of thing. And it's kind of hard to do with a stick. I mean, you can get it done, but I'd much rather have a gun.
Yeah. Yeah, they're determined.
You don't want to get bit by that, because that's just a whole world of problems you don't want.
Yeah. Even if you don't get sick, don't succumb from it.
Right.
It's a very expensive process and painful to make sure that you don't.
And if you can keep them at a distance, that's the best thing to do.
Yeah.
You don't want to have to get one running up your leg to try to get it off. I'd like to do it 15, 20 feet away.
Yeah. You've also been attacked by wild hogs, hadn't you? Not attacked, chased.
Yeah.
Matt told a funny story, and I laughed and laughed and laughed about it.
Yeah, I've been chased up. Had to jump up a tree a time or two because of wild hogs.
Yeah, Matt said in the darkness it sounded like, that's what I got tickled about, galloping hooves coming after you.
Yeah, that's what it sounded like. And it just kept getting closer, and I knew what it was, but I couldn't see it. I didn't have a light. I was going in the dark.
Yeah.
I mean, I could make out kind of what was going on, but I couldn't see the animals or the hogs coming. And it just got louder and louder, and I knew what it was, and I just jumped up and hugged onto a tree, and they went under me. And kind of made me mad. The next day, I carried a pistol in with me, and of course, I didn't see them after that.
Yeah.
I also carried a flashlight with me. So I could see.
So you could see.
Right.
Yeah.